John first. Sure, how about that? And I will go ahead and pause you, Smiletron. Let's do John. So, this was the site I was given. I'm curious if this is a different site. If I go like here, for example, it's the same page, I think. Oh, it isn't. It's actually different. What the heck? So this says portfolio, but this doesn't say portfolio. There's nothing up top. So is this page like there? No, it's different. What's going on here? So this is the page I was given by John. The thing is, so this comes up often on Real Talk and with the various people that submit to us, is they'll give us a link like a YouTube video or something, and like that's the submission. But the thing is we're, and I failed to mention it, but when Matt and I go into this thing, Matt and I have not looked at these sites before. We go in completely blind, and it's in the effort of kind of best emulating what an ignorant kind of viewer might experience going on the site for the first time, like someone like an audio director at some company or some indie developer or whoever you might be hoping to work with. They don't know you from Adam, potentially. And that said, going in blind is kind of the best way to show what effect your work might have on them, and us. So the thing is, when you submit a YouTube video by itself, we're still going to look into you, because if you apply to a company and you say, here's a YouTube video, and your name is, let's say, John Smith is hard to search probably, but if it's something like Sam Mackey, right, and you search Sam Mackey sound on Google, you'll probably find something good, so, or something relevant at least. So if we have this link, for example, I'm still going to look at this link. I'm still going to do it. Just like this. Actually, Renzo is a great example. Renzo gave us this link, and you can see it's still highlighted because I copied that into a new window here, right? So we'll look at this page first, the one that we were sent, but in general, it's pretty important that all your front-facing kind of information online is going to be in the state you want it to be in. We actually had, Barney, who was that guy? We actually had who the hell was it? It was, I don't recall. It's not really important, I guess, but it was somebody recently, and it was Harold. It was Harold. I don't know how to say his last name. Pichol. Picol. Harold sent me his link, and then I searched his name and found a different page. It was like Choco Sound or something like that. And it was really old stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, don't look at that one. It's my old site. I'm like, well, too late. I already did look at it, and so will any potential hirer. Like they'll search your name and be like, oh, who's this guy? And see your work and be like, And they might realize it's old, and they might realize you've made progress since then. Your new stuff is better and more relevant, but they might not. They might just hear it and say like, oh, this is, it's not for me, and be done with your name, right? So it's pretty important that whatever you have online is very relevant to you. I'm actually curious right now. If I search like Kevin Regami sound, what do I get? So I got my Twitter, I get like audio engineer. Yeah, so my website, like regamik.com, is just like my face and a link to PowerUp and a link to Phonopath. Because if I show my own stuff on my old demo reel page, it's completely irrelevant to my current life, right? So, anyways, let's go to John Smith. I'll zoom in here so we have a better view on stream. That's better. So this portfolio page is what we were sent. Slide 20XL, yes. Okay. Great. So portfolio music and sound replacement. We'll keep scrolling here. And then this is another one. So this is now, I'm going to zoom out a bit. This is Pokken Tournament. So is that like part of this heading? Music and sound replacement? So this is what I listened to first, straight up. Oh, Damien, yo, is with you as well. Yeah, your name brings up a different page. I recall that, and you were like, "Oh yeah, don't look at that." And your new page is way better too, so it's important to kind of make sure that's all that's there. That's all it's showing. Okay, iWire, composition, sound design. Again, about the brain, cool. Music, composition, demo reel, audio reel, like. So instantly, I'm kind of confused as what I'm looking at, because you've got a lot of like different terminology and stuff happening, and some things have headings and some things don't, and. Like this just says sound replacement. So let's see what this is. I'm gonna press play. Well, it's 2 minutes long. First off, that's too long. But let's just see what's up. I'm just gonna do this. It looks like it's all the same thing, straight through. Yeah, it's like a trailer. Okay, and then this is more of that, I guess. The same thing, just by glancing at this, it looks like it's all the same project. Yeah. So okay, so right away, this isn't really a reel, so to speak. This happens a lot. Well, not a lot. It happens. Well, it does happen a lot. Honestly, happens probably half the time as far as the kinds of reels I see or the kinds of portfolios I see, and Matt too, I'm sure. The thing is that the whole point of having like a demo reel or a show reel, like an audio or music or show reel or sizzle reel or whatever kind of terminology you want to use or flavor of reel you want to go for, the whole point of that thing is to be like an encapsulation of everything you have to offer. And that often kind of strikes people as a unreasonable challenge to take everything you've done and squeeze into a minute and be like, here, this is everything I have to offer you. But you kind of have to do it. And the thing is, you don't need to tell them everything in that minute. You need to get them interested in that minute. So this kind of thing, having a full 2 minutes. So let's see this page. We have this video that's what, 224 is what I saw? 223, okay, and then this one is 2 and change also, 212. And then we have this one, which is 440. Whoa, brutal. And then we have a bunch of music stuff that's kind of all, 4 minutes. It's like a bunch of tracks, right? So this is kind of a lot to ask of somebody because what if your best work happens at like 3 minutes and 20 seconds into this video? I have no idea. I can be honest and say I probably wouldn't watch all of these if I had arrived on this page. I would watch the first bit of the first video and draw conclusions from that. I might watch the first 30 seconds of this Child of Eden trailer. And if at that point I felt like, okay, well, I'll watch more, I guess, then I might watch these videos. And I guarantee you I will not listen through all of these. I might if you're a friend and you say, here's my site, what do you think? I'll listen through and give my opinion. But if I didn't know you from anybody else, if you're just a stack on my desk, or one of the many in a stack on my desk, my not being Kevin at Power Up, but being anyone at any company, there's a very good chance that I don't have 20 minutes to spare on my day. Like, let's just see this. So demo reel is 4 minutes long. Dawn's Rise, 2, 1, 4, 2. Yeah, it's a lot of time to ask somebody if they have like 80 interviews to go through, or interviews for resumes to go through, or even 10. It's a whole lot. So we have a few things to talk about here because there's a lot of kind of fundamental problems here, in my opinion. Fundamental problems that Matt's also pointing out right now. The demo reel should be, to me, a collection of your work. If you have one video that's one thing, people will only watch that one thing, so they really could miss a lot of what you do. So, for example, if you do implementation and music composition and or even the kinds of design, if you do like sci-fi, and if you do medieval fantasy, and if you do like just straight up like documentary style, like really really solid kind of just functional post-production, if you do like all these different kind of facets of sound design, if I watch your Assassin's Creed redesign, and that's all I watch, I'm not going to get any of those other kind of skill sets that you're putting on display through your site. And even though they are there, we're not going to see them. Whereas in a reel of 1 minute, 1 minute is a reasonable ask for somebody arriving on your site for the first time. And if you show all these things, show that sci-fi and the post-production and the medieval and the fantasy and your implementation and all these things in your 1 minute, then by the time they finish that minute, hopefully they make it through that minute, hopefully it's at least good enough for that, by the time they've gotten through that, they will have a pretty good idea of the various skills that you possess and what you might be able to bring to their project. If those skills are coherent with what they're looking for, then they will dig deeper. And if they aren't, then you're done anyways, it doesn't matter. But the point is that your whole goal here should be to give yourself a fighting chance of getting more of someone's time. So there's the 10-second test we always talk about, right? So right now I arrive on this page, and we'll start the 10 seconds from when we press play. But if I arrive here, name cool, portfolio cool. This is now the first thing I'm going to look at. It's the first thing I see. I am pressing play right now. I'll turn up my Chrome as well. And what we get? That's 10 seconds. So first off, some of that 10 was silent, and so far there's nothing that is really kind of, I don't know, like really grabbing. It's okay, and it's I guess appropriate to what we're seeing, but it's kind of just surreal abstract design so far, right? It's not really, and let's just play some more here. So far it's only logos and stuff, right? Okay, so sure. So this goes back to the whole point from before. This video by itself shows electronic music production, and some sound design that's like musically based. It's kind of a cool piece because it is deeply into like the game audio thing, being like music and sound is married and so forth. Pretty cool, but it's still only showing one thing, and you're risking them only watching this and be like, okay, well I want like classical, and moving on or something like that. So yeah, the whole reel thing should just be, again, your quick minute of like cut, show many things, and then once they have established that, oh, that one thing I saw, that's like really kind of up my alley, that's what we're looking for in this project, then let's go look some more into that. So in the chat, I see you guys talking about the whole the common question of, is audio by itself death? And it's usually, yeah, I would say usually. So Matt says straight up, SoundCloud equals death. Oh, okay, so no visuals means no context. If I'm looking for a game composer, a big part of that is putting music to picture. Lots of good composers can't marry music to picture, or have a completely different taste in what goes with what, from what I've heard, from what I have. So the thing is, yeah, I've seen that too. I've heard good music, but then I will see that music married to what they think is appropriate gameplay-wise. There was one, I think, I don't recall who it was, but somebody put music to The Witness, and I personally just happened to be like deeply addicted to The Witness at that point, and in my opinion, that music was like completely inappropriate for the gameplay of The Witness, being very thoughtful and kind of sit back and just like stare at a thing until it makes sense to you. It was far too active. It was just really not, in terms of the creative direction of that project, it just wasn't sitting with me at all. So the thing is, I've heard that music by itself, I wouldn't be able to know that. And conversely, if they put something against some picture and it worked like really, really goddamn well, then that speaks volumes to their sensibilities for music for games, right? More than just like music for music. Okay? So, let's see here. So a SoundCloud link doesn't show that off. Having some SoundCloud links can be all right to show some deeper things, but you definitely need a chunk of in-context stuff. Absolutely. So, yeah, so Matt says something very important at the very end there. He says, if all you have is SoundCloud, personally, I'll write you off as someone who isn't really invested in games. Totally. I mean, I get emails from people semi-frequently, or I get like intros from other people in the industry that I know. I got one from a pal of mine at Twitch, and it was like an intro email, and I replied to the guy. I went to his site and just gave him my first impressions of everything he's doing, and gave him some heads ups on like how to get into the industry and kind of what he can start doing, and going to conferences and doing different things with his site. And this was part of it. It was just a site with, I think, like a lot of like jazz music and stuff. And the jazz was objectively good. It was really good music, but it doesn't say anything about his sensibilities and aptitude and interest. Most importantly, interest, and like Matt says, investment in games. He might love playing like Madden or something, right? But it's completely irrelevant, and it's not demonstrated with SoundCloud videos or SoundCloud links at all. And more importantly, over to the distinction thing, I mean, if you have SoundCloud links and somebody else has like equally good music but against gameplay visuals, they're gonna win that battle. So you're not just looking to show your music well, you're looking to show your music better or as good as other people who are as talented as you are. or more talented. Because sometimes more talented people don't get hired because you just present yourself better, or you were at the conference, or whatever, right? So let's. I think that I'm curious of the main page though. Let's go to the main page for a second. So slide 20XL. We have portfolio and contact. This is the front page. This goes to the same page we're on. So portfolio is the top now. Interesting. So the front page actually isn't even. Yeah, man, John, I'm just confused by your page, man, because like you got portfolio here, which leads me to believe that this is what you want me to watch, and then your audio reel is your music stuff here in SoundCloud, but then you also have a header of portfolio, but you also have a portfolio link here that goes to a page with different content. No, it's the same. So this goes to the main page again or something? Yeah, I'm really confused by this. And the thing is, so since I'm confused by this leads to me drawing conclusions about your attention to detail or your, I mean, yeah, just mainly that, like attention to detail and things like flow and usability and so forth. And the thing is, that does have parallels in working with a team and aptitude for game systems and that kind of thing. So if I have a page that just navigates really strangely, and let's say for a second that, in my opinion, I think this page is a bit confusing, and let's say that I am to assume that this page is in the precise state that you want it to be in. Again, that's an assumption, right? So this is it's a little bit dangerous. So I'm going to, and I was going to get to that, Paul. So like Paul's saying here, it looks like we may have been given a link curated especially for this review. And in that case, I'm going to assume this page for the benefit of Real Talk, I'm going to assume this page is not what you want us to see, but so far it is what we're seeing, and that's kind of a problem. So I'll go back to the portfolio page, which, yeah, I don't know, it's very, very weird. And Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, I'll go, sure. Now, let's watch this thing. We'll watch some of it. I'm not going to watch all of it. We'll press play again, and we'll see what we get, okay? Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. So the we might watch the whole thing, but this comes up all the time, and I know what Matt's gonna say. There's music in this thing, and the thing is, showing a music and sound demo reel piece can be okay, but in general, what it'll do is it will lead people to make assumptions about what you're leaning on. And to me right now, it's like obvious to me that you're leaning on music. This same replacement with the music tracks muted would be bare as hell, like guaranteed. There'd be a few things here and there. There'd be like this like slidey transition. At this point, it was like here-ish, right? It's like there's some little movement there or something, maybe. And like even this musical element, like it wasn't that married to what I'm seeing. So it's kind of happening at the same time. It doesn't really feel like it's what we're seeing is being designed. So So there's Matt in the chat. If anyone doesn't know, I always hate music and SFX in the same reel. I want to see them separate. I almost let it go with this one since it's such a music heavy game. Yeah, I kind of feel similar. Like this one should be a music heavy kind of trailer, but perhaps it's not the best choice to showcase music and sound effects in one video, right? But from this, I'm totally gonna think you're a music person and not really that interested in SFX work. I feel the exact same way. So the thing is, whether we're right is completely irrelevant, right? Like whether we're correct, it's a case of this is causing us to assume things. And Matt is a huge proponent, and so am I, of when you have a website, when you have a reel, it's really important to control the narrative of that person's visit to your website or to your portfolio. So if you have a reel that is 1 minute long and you have the various things in it, and let's talk about the potential outcomes of someone watching that video, right? Let's say they watch it and they love that first thing. They're like, oh, I want to see more of that thing. If they want to go somewhere on your site and it's easy to find where to go and they can go to it to watch your 8-minute expose on your crazy implementation of this Unreal tutorial or something, they can do it. Whereas this, it's instead of causing us to gain interest and wanting to see more of something, we're now making assumptions about things because we're not sure if they're really entirely they're not conveyed like specifically and concisely. They're kind of conveyed as here's a cool piece I did, but it's not really explained, and we don't know you, so it's hard to know like where your interests actually lie. If you also had let's see, let's jump ahead here. So by the way, I don't want to watch the rest. I feel like I got enough out of that. So right away, there might be, so that might tell you if there's like really cool shit later on, like in the 1:30 mark, this like weird squid thing. Let's see that. Yeah, so if you loved this part, I almost didn't watch that. So that's kind of why it's important to have a reel to show your absolute best stuff and trim all fat from ground zero. Pocket Tournament, let's see it. Again, this is music and sound, I assume, same header. It's like the same header here, music and sound replacement. Let's go. Okay, yeah. So this is definitely kind of showing a little more of the sound design, and some is really cool. I like the really kind of subtle UI stuff. It's like it's kind of nice and sparkly and a little more just presence up top rather than being like kind of thing. It's really tasteful, but it's like pretty clear that the music is being leaned on here as well. You know, so it's still being an issue. So if you are trying to how do you phrase this? If you're trying to sell yourself as somebody who can do both music and SFX, you need to show both those things evenly. And right now they're not being shown evenly. I would assume that you don't really do sound design, and you are one of the many composers who do sound design because they have to, and not because they want to. And the thing is, that's okay if you are one of those people. But I would urge you not to pretend that you are not that person. And if you are looking to improve your sound design a lot, then I would, again, recommend you do a reel where it forces you to do all your sound and not lean on anything else. Just accept that your sound needs to be very strong and live on its own. Because there are people out there like Jeff Van Dyke, who was audio director on Alien Isolation, and also did like Assault Android Cactus and Shogun or Total War, or whatever it was. He is... like his work on Assault Android Cactus, he did all the music and all the sound, and it sounds like mint. It sounds so good. Everything in that game sounds so good. And he did both those things. It's not common, but it does happen. But there's a lot of composers, like for example, I will happily say like Ben Prunty, for example, who did music for Starcrawlers, and he's doing He did Faster Than Light. He's doing also Into the Breach, just recently announced, Subset's new game. He would absolutely rather not touch sound design ever. He's like he's very open about that fact. And his music is very, very good. And it's completely appropriate to the games, and he knows how to do how to create things to be appropriate for implementation purposes, like making intros and making different kinds of variation loops and making things flow together and stuff. But he has no interest in being the guy to do the sound design. And that's where we come in. So we're collaborating, and we do sound design, he does music, and we're a good team, and we both play to our strengths, or our strengths for that given project, and we get a better product for it. So bottom line is, I would urge you to absolutely have like a music reel, and maybe have a show reel that shows all your talents all at once, but you need to have a sound reel if you're going to claim to be doing sound design. You have to. Okay, let's watch this guy as well. So this iWire is composition and sound design. I'm curious how this is different from this. I guess it's that it's not replacement. Is that what it is? I mean, I'm assuming that's the difference since it's here. So let's see what's up. I'm like 4 minutes, man. That's brutal. No one's gonna watch it. See, this is a cool concept, but I don't feel compelled to watch it. Because look at this video. It's just like, this is like a perfect example of something that could be in a reel. And yeah, so Matt says I'm bored. No. Oh, Matt, you're so salty. See, the thing is, this could be in a reel. Let's do something for a second. I'm curious, actually. If I go to Damien Shepard, is that, I don't know where your site is, man. I don't recall this or what I saw, but here, iGame Audio, Damien Shepard. So let's say we saw this thing first. I'm curious if it would grip me right away. I don't know if it would. This one? I think it was this one. So yeah, this is the video that we were like, this is crazy. Let's watch the whole thing. So if I play this.
Hello, my name is Damien Shepard, and I do sound design, music, and implementation for video games. I've always been interested in procedural music.
Okay, so granted, this is instantly just like better produced, but in terms of like voice explaining things, like tell, don't show kind of thing.
Music, the idea that a piece of music could kind of dynamically self-improvise on the fly.
But the fact is, he's like talking a lot, and it's just like an unmoving thing we're seeing with Mario music. Like without any kind of explanation of what the hell this is, it might be a hard sell to get people to care and keep watching, right? Whereas with the reel, he throws it in there at the very end, and it's like, or not at the very end, but he throws it in here in a small portion, and as a result,
you might have sound in the scene.
Where is it?
Variation parameter.
So here it is.
Nice, and
it's like very short video. We're now 40 seconds only, and we go.
When this variation parameter reaches max, all of the instruments are now improvising.
And it's like an abridged explanation of what the hell this is. And when we saw this on Real Talk last week, we were like, "This is cool. Let's see more of this." Because we were given, it's like a trailer for the content, you know? It's like a tiny trailer, little teaser to just get your interest and make you feel intrigued, and then you can watch deeper. But to assume someone will want to watch your full video off the top is a bold assumption. It's a very bold assumption. And a 4-minute video or a 5-minute video, I suspect that a lot of people will see that number and be like, I'm not going to watch this, and just move on. Or they might glance at best. But and also given that it's like 3 videos down, it's just like it's very, it might be very very cool, but the presentation right now is just not. It might reach some people. It might, but it's really risky. And this looks interesting. Like this here and this looks interesting. But because this is irrelevant to what we're hearing, we're just seeing like B1. So this tiny bit on the screen is all that we're seeing to like settings. This is not relevant to the sound. Okay, and then so we had to hear, and there's new stuff. So 2 minutes in, 2:37 in, we're now black. And we learn that the game's soundtrack will differ based on the situation. Players solving cubes will hear more active music. Yeah, I just figured this could really be abridged, man. So let's hear the sound. Let's hear it. Yeah, so Barney says, "Oh, it's a game." Like this is, it's okay. That's a very good point, Barney. He says it's a tad unclear what on earth is going on here. Yeah, man. Like it's just you need to assume that no one knows anything what's happening and they don't care, and it's your job to make them care. And if it's just white text on black for 45 seconds, man, that's a large ask. It's too much. And I just as a small note as well, this kind of thing, sound effects are tuned to fit perfectly with music. They're quite musical, like that kind of thing. I mean, I feel like saying that's kind of redundant. Like we'll make that call, you know. And let me be clear and say the music is not bad. I like it. I like the music a lot. But it's the thing is you're not. It's a challenge, or it is your challenge to take your skills and present them in the best light. And right now, I think that you have a lot of talent, but it's not being presented in the most effective or efficient light. That's all. So something like a faster, like kind of get to the point style reel. So Matt says, "Wake me up for the next reel." Jeez, Matt. Matt's in the mood today. He's in the mood. Yeah, get a reel that has like, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do, this, and just have like many things back to back to back to back, like 6 things in a minute. And then if I want to know more about those things, have these videos also, so that I'm already interested. Because if I'm interested in something, I will watch it. Like that freaking Mario level and half an A button press. Like it's like 24 minutes long. I watched the whole thing. I was super super engrossed, right? But if I didn't know what it was, and I saw a 24-minute video, I'd be like, okay, back to Vine, you know. So okay, let's talk about the criteria here, because we're kind of jumping around a bunch of fundamental stuff here. So we have presentation. We talked about the real thing, the site thing being an issue, but we're not sure about that. So if it is intended to be your website, it's not doing the job right now. Just be aware of that. If this is your site, then make sure that it's updated soon. But make sure your reel is the very top, because all you might get is like 10 seconds. Yeah, Vine's defunct. You might get 10 seconds of a real view on the top video, and then if they're not interested, they will leave the page. So if your stuff that is really, really awesome happens like a minute in or on further videos, then make sure those are in the single real video that you want people to see. Trim all fat, give them only the good stuff, okay? Material selection, well, you have something you worked on, which is really interesting and unique, and seems to have players, pretty cool. But I think you could probably show it in a more concise light to people who are coming in blind. And replacements are okay. The music's way better than the sound is. The sound's okay. Paul mentioned the the hits and stuff sound a bit lo-fi. We didn't watch the whole thing. I don't think we have to, but I mean. Yeah, like the sound, it's what's there is like okay, and some is kind of not as fleshed out as it could be, but the fact is, it's just not showing it off. It isn't showing it off at all. So Matt says, I think you're better than you're showing. Agreed, 100%. I think that this reel could be a lot better at showing how good you actually are. So as far as distinction goes, it's not really standing out because it's just not showing you as effectively as it could. And SFX all sound small, says Jay. Yes, agreed. 100%. Okay, let's move on. So let's jump on from John. Thank you very much, John, for the submission. And yeah, it was a bit unclear as far as your main page and portfolio, John. When you watch it, I know that you're going to tune in for the replay, so let me know on like the Game Audio Slack or on Twitter or wherever. Just let me know if you have any questions or any clarifications. I'll be happy to follow up with you, okay? All right. Thanks, man. Good music and hidden sound design. So let's look at Renzo.